Okay. Get this microphone situated a little bit better here. Okay, what's up, everybody? I'm just getting my camera a little bit set up here for Q&A. So the this will be fun for me. 'Cause I'm going to be able to experiment with some of the new live tools that Facebook has. But just so you guys know, today's event is focused on Q&A. Some of you have submitted questions ahead of time. Let me see if for those who are coming in today, please know that I'll be answering questions. I was hoping they would have the ability for me to place the question on the screen, but if not, it's all good. I will write out the questions as they come in. So the first thing I'm going to do today is the first question I got by Bailey in our event. He was asking about staff, and so specifically, how do you handle a good person quitting? So that's going to be the first question I answer. Before I launch into that, if you're tuning in, my name is Charlie Mitchell. I run Kids Program Solutions with my wife Allie. We do this company together, and what we do is we help companies like you guys, kids program owners. This is the background we come from, the industry we come from. We help guys just like you scale through your problems, whether it be generating leads, increasing your revenue, figuring out your profit margins, whatever issues you are currently suffering from within the kids program world. We have real-time experience, real-life experience solving those issues, as well as we're doing it actively for our growing list of clientele. So if that is you, if you are interested in finding out more about what it is that we do, we can schedule a call, and Ali will put that in the comment section below, and I'll loop back to that later on as well. So today is a Q&A. So this is a little bit of a difference from how we normally do the lives. Normally the live is like a particular topic, and then we go through that topic. But we're constantly experimenting with new styles of lives, new topics, new this and that, whatever, right? To try to increase the engagement and help you guys find more value out of the tools that we're bringing to the table, out of the lives that we're doing into this group. Because ultimately, it is about you guys, right? It is about helping create a group that you guys find a lot of value in, and that's really our attempt here. Is like, we want to create a lot of value. Our cards on the table. We want to create a lot of value because we want you to find a lot of value in it, and then ideally come and try and work with us. That's really what we would like. But nonetheless, if you want to come into this group, participate, and just get your hands on some free value, by all means. Like, we understand some of you are just trying to get in there and get your programs up and off the ground, and so these lives are definitely centered around getting value into your hands, helping you deal with the issues you're dealing with. It's just been a lot of lives around staffing because so many of you have said that staffing is the thing that you are suffering from, or the issue you need help with. Okay? So the first question I'm going to go ahead and go into was by Bailey. He said his question was, how do I handle someone who is a good person who is quitting? How do I handle a good person quitting in the business? Okay, so let me start by saying that if someone has gotten to the point where they feel the need to quit, right, where they've been in your business and they've said, you know what, I've seen everything you have to offer, I now want to quit. I know the gut reaction is to want to save them, but I don't think you should, and hear me out. The fact is that it takes quite a bit for someone to get to the point where they want to quit. It's either the business has done a lot to kind of break down the relationship, or there's a lot of stuff going on personally that they are now wanting to leave. Okay, either way, you can't really change if it's personal stuff that's making them want to quit. You can't really change that, and if it's business minded stuff, you're not going to change that overnight. And the fact of the matter is, once you've soured the relationship, it's incredibly difficult to salvage it. So it's almost like you would be better off letting them quit, going and trying out something else, somewhere else, and then coming back onto the team. That's almost a better situation for you to have, as opposed to trying to salvage them quitting. You should to me as a leader, I want to be able to see someone quitting coming, right? I want to be in a position where I know if that person's going to leave or stay, then I'm going to be able to see that miles away. And the way you do that is by being in your quarterly meetings, it's by doing your quality control meetings, it's by just being active as a leader in the lives of your employees. You're going to have a better feel for kind of what's coming down the road for them, whether it be a significant life change, maybe they're finishing up school. Like, for example, if you have a really good staff member who's like, yeah, I'm about to graduate school for law school or something, I don't know. For you to assume that they're going to just postpone their life to stay and continue kids coaching when they've dedicated 6, 7, 8 years to this other goal is just not realistic. Okay, so it's like that's why you want to pay attention to what they're doing in their personal lives, because it's going to give you some idea as to like where they're heading, and if that route ends up with them leaving, then at least you have some foresight and you can plan for it. You say, hey, I know you're going to graduate soon. What are your plans? And it's like, well, I plan on leaving and starting a law firm. In this example I gave, then okay, cool. Like, let's build out a plan around when you leave and how we're going to shape the company appropriately in that. Okay, so that's the first piece. The second piece is going to be if they're leaving and it's kind of shell shock, you should always conduct an exit interview. Okay, so exit interviews are your opportunity to just let the person have free reign to say whatever they want. They're leaving, right? And so you want to find out as much information as you possibly can in this exit interview about what made their experience so terrible that they wanted to leave. Okay, that's the huge piece that I would have in the exit interview, is I'm really trying to dial in on what is the problem within the business that resulted in them leaving. Now, there may be no problem. Like I said, you may have hired a great person, they're motivated, they're building something outside of the business, they graduate school, they get the loan, whatever. Like, there's some personal life development, they have a kid, they get married, they're moving. All these life circumstances can take good people away from you, and it really is nothing you can do about it. It's just life is pulling them out. So I would say that you're always just trying to mine for information to learn how to actively make the experience better for the people who are there in the business. Okay, that's going to be the primary driver of what you're attempting to accomplish when they quit, or when they tell you they want to quit. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Bailey. I don't know if you're here in the live today, but if you're not, no worries. Just post later on in the comment section if it did, or you can shoot me a message. Again, welcome to Q&A. I'm going to run this for a while longer. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below, and we'll get them answered. All right, so in the meantime, I have went and scoped out some of the other groups. For those of you who don't know, Ali and I are definitely, in these other groups. We're constantly looking for what is it that you guys are having issues with? What is it that you need help with? Because that's what we do. We're in the business of solving those problems, right? We're called Kids Programs Solutions. So it's like, in order for us to constantly develop the solutions, we're constantly looking at the problems. And we saw a poll asking what's something that you guys have really struggled with. And so one of the ones that really caught my attention was you guys are struggling with millennials. And it's funny because, I don't know if you guys gather this, but I am a millennial. I'm actually barely in the millennials. I'll be 33 in June. And, the big piece, and it's fun talking to my clients because I love getting these varying point of views as to why millennials are the way they are, and kind of the issues that you're experiencing. So when people say that they're having issues with millennials, for me, or rather what I'm looking for is I'm looking for trends. Okay, I want to see the patterns that are emerging across all of these different owners and perspectives as to what specifically it is about millennials that they're having issues with. And a lot of them seem to say that it has a lot to do with the fact that millennials are not bought in, or they're very selfish, or they're very they're just really about themselves. It's hard to get them motivated to be workers. They're not very self-motivated, yada, yada, yada. You get it. It's kind of like running up this vein, right? And, let me help break this down for you really quickly. The misconception about millennials is that they're more selfish than previous generations, and that's just false, okay? The reality is, and I can tell you this because I'm working in your groups with owners who are acting just as selfish in their own rights. Okay, the thing is millennials are just more overt about their selfishness. They're more just upfront. They're less ashamed to tell you that they're there trying to figure out what's in their best interest to work for your business. The reality is that's how it has always been. All right. Now it's just increased to the point where I understand in the past it wasn't as much. People definitely were at the job for selfish reasons, right? It's like, well, I want to make money for my family and have food, yada, yada, yada. I mean, you could classify those technically as selfish reasons. Not that they're bad reasons, right? But now it's like millennials are not as worried about saying that stuff outright. And so it's like what you do with this information is instead of letting this information eat away at you, you just plan for it and you build accordingly. So when someone comes into your business and says, why should I work for you? What's in it for me? You have a clear set of reasons as to why they should do that. Okay? And that's compensation, career, and culture. If you have those three things, you will have people a lot more motivated to stay and work in your business. Okay? So when you are looking at millennials, just know that they're kind of the nice part is the transparency of they really like the transparency in your company because they themselves want to be transparent. They themselves want to tell you, hey, here's why I'm doing this job. Here's why I'm working here. I'm working here because I want to make a paycheck. I want to have a career, but I need you to tell me if I can have that in your business. I need you to tell me if this is the opportunity for me to do that. Okay. And if you're offended by that, or if you're like, oh my gosh, like these millennials, then you're going to have to change your attitude because they are like a primary workforce and they're growing dramatically in terms of how large the workforce is. It's going to be more and more millennials. So if you have this attitude where you don't want to hire them or you don't want to work with them in this capacity, you'll always push them away. You'll always push them out, and then you'll never have the coaches you need to scale your program. I know that there are a lot of good coaches in the millennial generation right now that you could go get to be in your business and be pillars that you build on. But they want to have a transparent conversation with you as to what's in it for them. What is the compensation? What is the career pathing? What is the culture like, right, within the business? Do they feel trusted? Do they feel like they're going to be valued? Do they feel, those type of things, okay? And so ultimately, in order to work with a millennial, you're really just building off these sound principles that have always been a part of the formula. It's just they're more transparent and apparent in the conversations now than they were previously. Previously, the employer had a lot more of the power. I feel like the power is kind of evening out now, where the worker has some of the power back to them, and that's not a bad thing. It's just building. Understand that that's the dynamic you're working with, and so when you go into these, that's why it's like I always coach my clients to have this stuff ready to rock and roll. Put it on your website. Have your culture, your compensation, your career stuff on your website. Have it ready in the interview. Be incredibly transparent about the expectations of the position. And if someone a lot of people are scared to be like, well, how much money do you want to make? Or when do you want to work? It's like, you have to ask these questions. And if this isn't you, then great. Like you're probably experiencing success in your interviews. But the interviews are about like, how uncomfortable can I make it? Because the reality is that uncomfortability will force people to reveal what they're really thinking, right? And of course, there's a nuance to that. You don't want to make it completely uncomfortable, but you are definitely trying to make some level of uncomfortability in the interview because you want to be able to just ask these transparent questions, okay? And I think that that's what throws employers off, is it's like, tell me reasons why you want to work here, right? Now it's kind of like they're interviewing you and saying, you tell me reasons why I should work here, okay? And I think that throws them off because they're used to people coming to them looking for that job. And that's just not how it is anymore. And that's fine. Adjustments can be made for that, okay? So if you are struggling with millennials, I hope you found that information insightful. If not, I can do a whole live on it. I personally love talking about that and some of the sociological factors that I think have manipulated the generations that we have now as a workforce and some of those underlying factors. So if that is something you're struggling with, then definitely let me know in the comment section below. And if it becomes enough of a trend, I will definitely do a live dedicated to it. And if not, we can do more lives dedicated to it. Again, this is a resource that we have for you guys to voice the concerns, voice the things that you need. So it's up to you. The value that comes out of the group is improved dramatically when you guys start telling us like, hey, these are the things we want, these are the questions we have, these are the lives we want done. Those are the things that help me be like, okay, hey, we're going to focus here on solving this particular issue for you. Okay? All right, cool. So we're butting up against the 15-minute mark. I didn't have any other questions come in today. So what I will do is I will go ahead and nice. I'll go ahead and end today's live. Okay, so remember, if you are having problems within your program right now, whether it's like your staff issues are there, you're not able to get the kids into the program, which fortunately a lot of you don't seem to be having that issue. Most of you are having a staff issue. That's why all of our stuff has been around staff. Okay, again, it's to help you guys with the staff issue. As you've mentioned, that is the main issue. All right, for you. So if you're in any of those predicaments, if you're in that boat, okay, do me a favor, go onto the calendar, schedule a call with me, and we'll go into and talk to you about our kids program accelerator and what it could potentially do for you. We just closed our enrollment, but that doesn't mean we can't have a conversation about when the next enrollment's going to open up and get you into that. Because again, we limit how many clients we take on each week because we're dedicating so much time to getting you guys up and running, and we don't want to overwhelm ourselves. Okay, so food for thought. I hope you guys enjoyed today's live. Next week is going to be a huge one. Next week we're doing a panel with millennial coaches. So it'll be me and several others on that live. And we're going to be talking about culture, career compensation, the things that motivate them to want to work in the business. And these are like all-star coaches. We have vetted them. We know that they come from programs where they are crushing it and they were recommended by their employers. So these are people that you're going to want to hear the opinion of, especially as it pertains to what motivates them to work for these businesses, what motivates them to be bought in, show up, be there, be present. Okay, so that's next week's live. It's going to be same time, Thursday, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard. In the meantime, we'll talk to you guys next time. All right, see you later.